Billionaire funding Justin Baldoni's legal fees against Blake Lively goes through serious tragedy in a stunning twist to the ongoing legal saga between Hollywood stars Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively. A personal tragedy has shaken the financial foundation behind Baldoni's legal defense. The billionaire businessman, whose identity has remained largely under the radar, reportedly funding Baldoni's legal fees, is now facing a heartbreaking family crisis that could change the direction of the case entirely. This development arrives as the courtroom drama escalates between Lively and Baldoni, stemming from allegations of a coordinated smear campaign, defamation, and professional sabotage. But now, with the benefactor facing a personal catastrophe, many wonder whether Baldoni's strong legal backing will continue. Let's take an in-depth look at how this tragedy unfolded, who the billionaire is, how his involvement with Baldoni began, and what this means for the case moving forward. The legal feud between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni began after the release of It Ends With Us, a film adaptation that drew both critical scrutiny and fan outrage. Lively, originally cast as the lead, reportedly clashed with Baldoni, who both directed and starred in the film, over creative control and final cut authority. Following public fallout, sources allege that Lively became the target of a social media smear campaign involving influencers, bloggers, and commentary channels. Her legal team has since claimed Baldoni played a central role in orchestrating the damage to her reputation. Baldoni has consistently denied these allegations, stating he has never taken part in any attempt to discredit Lively. As legal bills mounted, Baldoni's legal team revealed they were receiving private backing from a well-established billionaire investor with ties to the entertainment industry. Although his name was never officially confirmed, several credible outlets identified him as Elliot Sanderson, a venture capitalist known for early investments in tech startups and film production companies. Sanderson had reportedly partnered with Baldoni on philanthropic projects in the past and viewed the legal battle as one of principle and fairness. According to internal reports, Sanderson promised to fund Baldoni's defense for as long as it takes. In late June 2025, tragedy struck the Sanderson family. Elliot's eldest son, Nathaniel Sanderson, passed away unexpectedly, following a sudden medical emergency. The young entrepreneur, just 32 years old, was reportedly preparing to take over one of his father's most successful startup ventures. Sources close to the family shared that Nathaniel's passing has left the entire Sanderson household devastated. The family has withdrawn from public events, business dealings have slowed, and most of Elliot's direct communications have been cut off as he grieves privately. The impact of this tragedy is now reverberating through the Baldoni legal camp. Several sources familiar with the matter suggest that Sanderson has paused all discretionary financial support, including the legal fund he established for Baldoni. Although Baldoni's legal team remains in place, insiders indicate that certain legal motions have been delayed due to funding uncertainties. With Lively's team moving aggressively on subpoenas and depositions, the potential absence of Sanderson's financial support could tip the scales. Elliot Sanderson, now 68, made his fortune in the early 2000s through a series of lucrative software investments. Over the years, he diversified into film production, quietly financing indie films with social themes. He met Baldoni during a charity initiative focused on mental health, where the two bonded over their shared philanthropic interests. Despite his wealth, Sanderson avoided media attention, preferring to work behind the scenes. His decision to fund Baldoni's defense was viewed as both a personal favor and a gesture of belief in Baldoni's character. It was also a rare moment where Sanderson took a public stand, indirectly, through financial influence. Blake Lively's lawyers have not commented directly on Sanderson's tragedy, maintaining a respectful silence. However, their legal motions have not slowed. In fact, Lively's team recently filed a petition to compel several social media personalities to testify under oath, alleging they were paid to spread misinformation. While Baldoni's team once had the financial muscle to counter such aggressive tactics, the pause in Sanderson's support may challenge their response strategy. Legal experts suggest that if this funding halt continues, Baldoni may be forced to restructure his legal defense entirely. Social media platforms have erupted with debates about the billionaire's involvement and the impact of his personal loss. Some fans have expressed sympathy, while others question whether it's ethical for someone of his influence to financially back a celebrity's legal battle, regardless of his relationship with Baldoni. News outlets have also begun re-examining Baldoni's legal standing. Some speculate that without Sanderson, Baldoni may seek a settlement or a quieter resolution. Others argue this tragedy could humanize both sides, potentially opening the door for mediation rather than continued courtroom conflict. One of the most controversial aspects of the case involves influencers like Candace Owens, Andy Signore, and Perez Hilton, names that Lively's legal team has mentioned in recent subpoena drafts. Allegedly, these individuals were used as conduits for spreading damaging narratives about Lively. Baldoni's team has denied any coordination. However, the mounting pressure to investigate financial ties and communication records could pose challenges. If Baldoni's side cannot keep pace with the legal maneuvers, Sanderson's withdrawal of funding might also reduce the investigative reach of Baldoni's lawyers, allowing Lively's legal team to dominate the courtroom landscape. Several legal analysts have weighed in on the situation. One noted that this case was already unique due to its public visibility, but the added element of a billionaire backer facing personal tragedy makes it even more unpredictable. It's rare to see a civil case this high-profile lean so heavily on one financial source. If that source disappears, even temporarily, it changes the tempo of the legal strategy, said Laura McKenna, a litigation expert. As of now, Justin Baldoni has not publicly commented on the situation. His representatives have stated he remains committed to clearing his name and grateful for the support received thus far. However, insiders suggest Baldoni is reassessing his next steps given the evolving financial reality. One possible scenario involves Baldoni pursuing alternative funding sources. Another, more speculative option, would be Baldoni choosing to represent himself more directly or to limit his legal defense to essential motions only. This legal feud, and the twist involving Sanderson's tragedy, has reignited debate over wealth, influence, and accountability in Hollywood. Some see it as another example of powerful figures using financial leverage in ways that most cannot afford. Others argue that both Lively and Billionaire are victims of a media culture that rewards drama over truth. The tragedy within the Sanderson family, while deeply personal, underscores how even the most private moments can become entangled in public spectacle. Several directors, producers, and actors have quietly commented on the feud, with some urging restraint and empathy. An anonymous studio executive told Variety, "This should have been a private matter resolved quietly. Instead, it's turned into a public spectacle. Now, with Elliot's loss, there's a real opportunity to reconsider how we conduct ourselves, even in disputes." Some close to the case say that the time may be ripe for mediation, with Sanderson's involvement on pause and public fatigue growing. A neutral third-party resolution could provide both parties a dignified way out. For that to happen, however, both sides would need 9/14 to de-escalate, something neither has shown willingness to do so far. The story of Justin Baldoni vs. Blake Lively was already complex, dramatic, and high stakes. With the sudden tragedy affecting Elliot Sanderson, a previously silent yet powerful figure in the background, the dynamics of this legal war have shifted us again. What happens next remains uncertain, but one thing is clear. The lines between personal loss, public conflict, and private ambition have never been more blurred in Hollywood.